Imagine XRP's price skyrocketing, not because of hype or a tweet, but because, well, it has to. Now, I'm talking about a scenario where XRP's value is forced upwards by a brewing supply shock. And if that sounds a little bit crazy, just stick with me here, because what I've discovered this week might just change how you think about XRP's next big move. Just a couple days ago, I stumbled upon an analysis by an XRP guy who goes by the name of Chad on X that made me actually do a bit of a double take, because his research actually suggests that the question is no longer if XRP will rise, but actually it's how high it needs to go in order to slow down a feeding frenzy from Wall Street. And yes, you did hear that right, because institutional demand is getting pretty intense that the price might be the only thing that can pump the brakes. Okay, let me just set the stage here. About a week or so ago, several XRP ETFs have launched, allowing big players to buy XRP through regulated funds. And guess what? They wasted no time at all. In just 8 trading days, XRP ETFs quietly amassed around about $644 million worth of XRP. Now that is absolutely huge pile of XRP being taken off at the open market. Yet, if you glanced at the XRP's price, you would probably never have known it. It's been hanging around that $2 mark, barely even twitching. So you're probably thinking, what gives? Why hasn't the price exploded with all of that buying pressure? Well, the reason is a little bit sneaky and kind of genius at the same time. You see, most of these ETF purchases, they are not happening on the public exchanges where you and I actually trade. They're happening over the counter, basically private, off-exchange deals. Now, Fabio, a director of the XRP Ledger Foundation, actually pointed out that issuers are loading up via OTC desks. It's kind of like there's this stealth vacuum that's sucking up XRP behind the scenes, while on the surface, everything just looks a bit calm. But here is the catch. The calm cannot last if the buying keeps on up. Now, Chad's model is essentially saying that XRP is approaching a fork in the road. Either these ETFs keep gobbling up the circulating supply at the currently low prices, potentially leaving everyday holders like us with just crumbs, or the price has to shoot up dramatically to slow them down. There isn't really a middle ground in his view. Think of it like trying to drink soup, with a whole bunch of people using the very same bowl, right? If the soup, i.e. XRP in this analogy, is cheap and easy to sip, well, these people will slurp it all up in no time at all. But if the soup gets scalding hot, metaphorically speaking, the price spikes, well, they're going to be forced to slow things down a bit. Now, price in this analogy is the heat that controls the slurping speed. And right now, the ETFs are slurping hard. So, how hot does it need to get? Well, Chad crunched some eye-opening numbers here at around $11.25 per XRP, roughly 5 times the current price. His model suggests ETFs would still need, at least buy nearly around 3 billion XRP every single year. Now, that is still a pretty massive amount, isn't it, right? If XRP hits around $22.50, that'd be about a 10x or so. The annual demand, might actually drop to about 1.49 billion XRP. A little bit better, yes, but these funds would still be consuming a huge chunk of the supply that most of us can only ever dream of. Now, if you go ahead and crank the price all the way to $45 per coin, well, the number actually falls to about 746 million XRP per year. Double that again to $90 per coin, and the demand could actually shrink to around 373 million XRP annually. And in this rather extreme scenario, hold on to your hats, if XRP somehow hit $225, that would be a 100x or so increase from where it was pre-ETF mania, well, the institutions would need to at least be limited, I guess, to about 150 million XRP per year. So in other words, at $225 per XRP, they simply couldn't afford to buy as much XRP at the same budgets. So the feeding frenzy would finally slow to a more manageable pace. Now, before anyone goes and runs off tweeting that I predicted $225 XRP, that is not what I am doing here. I'm walking you through a theoretical model to illustrate a rather interesting point. As long as these ETFs keep pouring in money, the only natural way to stop them from buying everything is for XRP's price to rise. The higher the price, the fewer tokens that they get per dollar, and the more that the frenzy cools off. Conversely, right? Now, if XRP stays dirt cheap forever, right, nothing stops them from eventually absorbing the entire public supply. And that is a pretty wild thought, right? This situation is unlike anything that we have seen before in crypto. We always talk about supply and demand, but this is supply and demand on steroids. Now, here we have a set of institutional players with potentially billions of dollars of inflows, automatically buying XRP through these funds, rain or shine. Now, in fact, some earlier estimates actually suggest that just 7 XRP ETFs could eventually collectively pull in $7 to $10 billion every year if the interest holds up. And that was before a few more issuers announced that they're jumping in as well. Even now, the numbers are completely nuts, right? One of the first ETFs that was out of the gate, that was the Canary Capital XRPC, that has raised about $245 million on day one. And it is sitting around $329 million just a week later. Bitwise's XRP fund snagged about $168 million so far, and get this, Franklin Templeton and Grayscale, which launched their XRP ETF products just a couple days ago after Canaries, have already amassed $150 million each, and there are more on the way. So, the hunger for XRP exposure is very real. Yet, here we are, XRP at $2 and some change, trading like nothing has happened at all. Part of me feels like we're in the eye of the storm. It's tranquil, but with an eerie pressure that is building. Now, Chad actually warned of what he calls a one-day billion scenario, where a dozen aggressive ETFs could theoretically demand over $1 billion worth of XRP in a single day. Just imagine waking up to that kind of headline. How do you even get $1 billion of XRP in one day without the price going berserk? Now, it hasn't happened yet, and it might not in exactly that way either. But even at the current price, there's a sense of an incoming squeeze. Most of us retail investors probably won't even notice until at least the price isn't $2 anymore. Maybe it's $3, $5, $10, right? And it happens rapidly on the back of some kind of catalyst. Maybe Bitcoin rallies past six figures again. It briefly dipped below $90,000 recently, right? Or perhaps one of these ETFs has to start buying on exchanges because, well, the OTC liquidity dries up. Now, who knows what the spark is going to be? But all this hidden accumulation, it feels like kindling that is stacking up, just waiting for a match. Now, before I share how I'm personally preparing for this potential XRP supply shock, let me drop in a rather quick but very important disclaimer. I mean, you OGs know what is about to come, right? It might just shock you if not though, because I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, I'm glad that we got that out of the way. Now, what am I doing with all of this information? How does an XRP holder like me navigate a situation where the price could either remain frustratingly flat, if they keep buying on OTC quietly, or spike to who knows what when the dam finally breaks? The key for me is planning and not getting caught off guard. Let me break down a few steps that I'm taking here, which might actually help you formulate your own game plan too. Not financial advice, of course. Remember the disclaimer that you probably just skipped, but hopefully didn't. Now, the first thing I'm doing is exchange preparedness. Now, this is something that every crypto investor should really think about, especially heading into what could be a very volatile period. So if XRP's price soars or if trading volumes do explode, we've seen exchanges struggle or even temporarily go down, in the past kind of bull runs. Now, the last place that you're going to want to be is stuck in a sign up or a verification queue when you need to make a move. That is why I have accounts on multiple different exchanges, right? Think of these as plan A, plan B, plan C, and even D, right? I've already signed up on and completed KYC where I needed to, and even done test trades on a whole bunch of different platforms. So if Exchange A has a problem or runs out of liquidity, I can hop over to Exchange B or Exchange C without missing a single beat. Now, I do highly recommend that you set up at least 2 or 3 different exchange accounts now, not when things are on fire. It's kind of like having multiple doorways out of a crowded room, right? All of my preferred exchanges, they're linked conveniently for everyone who's interested on my website, and there's a link for that in the description down below. But here's a heads up. All the links on my website, those are affiliate links, which means if you do use them, it actually helps the channel out here at no extra cost to yourself. Now, I'm mentioning this because whether you use my links or not, I have listed on my website all of the exchanges that I personally use and trust. You just never know when it comes to the crypto space. So if you do head over there and spend the time to sign up to any of those exchanges, I would like to say a big thank you for supporting us here. Plus, using those links might even get you some sign-up perks or bonuses depending on what jurisdiction you are around the world. Right? Might be, bonuses in terms of trading or even lower fees in some cases. Talk about win-win. Speaking of exchange perks, let me also mention a very specific limited time offer that is pretty awesome, especially for you XRP fans. Now, I've partnered up with Kraken for a very special promotion. If you sign up using my link that's in the description down below and you trade at least $100 worth of any cryptocurrency, excluding stablecoins, within 30 days, Kraken will credit you with $25 in XRP for free. Yes, free XRP dropped into your account. That is a 25% boost on your $100 trade, just as a thank you for getting started. Now, obviously, there are terms and conditions that do apply, and I've put all of those in the description down below so that you can check them out. These are going to be things like having to complete that $100 trade within 30 days of opening your account. You can only obviously apply for this bonus and this reward if you use that link that's in the description down below. Not every jurisdiction is, of course, eligible as well. So just bear in mind all of the fine print. It's very important. It's probably also worth noting at this point as well that, this is a promotion that's brought to you by Kraken, the crypto exchange, and nothing to do with or affiliated with YouTube or Cheeky Crypto in any other way. And of course, the link in the description, the one that you have to use to get this particular deal, is my affiliate link for Kraken, which helps support the channel here at no extra cost to yourself. So if you are planning on stacking more XRP anyway, this is a bit of a no-brainer. And even if you're not big into trading, it's a great way to open a Kraken account, which is one of the most top exchanges regulated in the United States and one of the best exchanges out there. And you can snag XRP as a bonus just to hodl. Just don't procrastinate for too long though, because it is a limited time offer and it don't last forever. Next up is secure storage. Now, we've talked about institutions and how they might end up holding a lion's share of XRP. Now, on one side, or at least one side effect of that could be that exchanges are going to struggle with liquidity, especially if prices start moving really, really fast. Now, the last thing that you're going to want to do is be unable to withdraw your XRP or any other crypto because an exchange is having a few issues or suddenly pausing withdrawals. That is why I harp on about making sure that you use some kind of hardware wallet for long-term holds. The rule is quite simple, right? Not your keys, not your coins. Now, I personally use these Ledger Stacks hardware wallets. I have 4 of them for different purposes. Right? And I use these to store my crypto, including XRP. They're kind of like having little USB devices, I guess. You can see it's USB-C. Hopefully you can Yeah. And basically what you do is you connect it to your computer and you store your private keys offline, away and safe from those hackers. Now, if you do not have a hardware wallet, seriously consider it, whether it is a Ledger or another reputable brand. Just make sure that you buy it directly from the manufacturer. There's no Amazon, no eBay, no random third-party sellers, because unfortunately, there are some fake devices that are out there that can scam you. You might be thinking that you're putting your crypto into a Ledger hardware wallet, and actually you're sending it directly to a scammer. So, to make it really easy, I have got a direct link to Ledger's official website that's listed in my website or on my website. And I put a link to the description down below for my website, right? And yes, it is an affiliate link. Okay, that's full disclosure. It means that if you do purchase through that link, it supports the channel here, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. But more importantly here, that link, it ensures that you're getting a genuine device straight from Ledger, not a knockoff or a tampered with device. Security is absolutely paramount here, especially if XRP is heading to where we all think that it could be. So if we do get that big price surge, you're not going to want to be the person scrambling to secure your bags when it's already too late. All right, so we've covered having exchanges ready and keeping your crypto safe. Now, the other thing that I focus on here is education and community. Right, we have we are in, I guess, uncharted waters with these ETFs, right? It's not something that we've seen before. It's exciting, but it can also be a little bit overwhelming. Now, one day you might see a giant green candle and think, this is it. Lamborghini time. And the very next day, there's a pullback or some kind of fear, uncertainty, and doubt known as FUD. And suddenly you're questioning everything. Well, trust me, I've been there. What helps me stay grounded is understanding the market and having a bit of a game plan. That's exactly why we created the Cheeky Crypto School at cheekyschool.com. It's a shameless plug. I know. But hear me out here, right? I've put together courses on trading strategies, portfolio construction, risk management, all of the good stuff that every crypto investor should know, especially those of us holding assets like XRP that can swing rather hard. Now, the courses are designed to turn the most complex stuff into plain English and actionable strategies. Now, if you're looking to up your game, check them out. There's a link in the description down below, and we've got a sweet 50% off discount code down there for the community as well. Now, I do genuinely want you all to succeed and not make the same dumb mistakes that I made when I was a newbie. Now, maybe you're not up for the structured courses. You know what? That's cool too. Another resource that I'm really proud of is our free educational Discord community. It's an educational, no drama zone where we discuss crypto projects, we share the tips, we answer questions, and just support each other on this journey. The invite, it's in the description as well down below. And you know what? Everyone is welcome. Now, if you're new and feeling lost, then just jump in there. You'll find a whole ton of friendly people who probably had the same questions that you do now. I'm in there quite often, as well as Chris, and at least as much as we can be. And so it's a great way to interact with me directly and tap into the knowledge of other experienced people. And hey, sometimes just knowing that others are hodling through the same storms gives you a bit more confidence to stick to your own plan instead of panic selling. All right, let's go ahead and zoom out and wrap up this story today. What does it all mean then in plain terms? Well, to me, it means that 2025 might go down as the year that XRP truly tested the limits of supply and demand. Right, we have these new XRP ETFs acting like high-powered vacuum cleaners, quietly sucking up coins in the background. They're doing it so discreetly that the market hasn't even reacted yet. But you can't remove billions of dollars worth of any asset from circulation and not have some kind of impact eventually. It's like taking kegs of water out of a swimming pool. The water level will drop, even if people notice it, or at least don't notice it at first. Now, I cannot tell you exactly when or how the next phase will play out. Maybe it's going to be next week. Maybe it'll be early next year. But I do have a feeling that this pressure that we're sensing has to release eventually. Now, Chad's data-driven prediction essentially says that XRP is primed for a supply shock. And when that hits, price is the only release valve. Now, it could be dramatic and it can change a lot of portfolios overnight, or maybe it happens slowly, a grind upwards as the market grudgingly kind of reprices XRP higher to fend off the constant institutional demand. Either way, as an XRP holder, I'm going to be here for it. I'm prepared for it, and honestly, I'm pretty excited about it too. So, what is the worst case then? Maybe I'm totally wrong, and XRP stays around $2 and these ETFs somehow just lose interest. I doubt it, but let's be fair, nothing is certain in crypto, right? So in that particular scenario, I'm still fine because I haven't over-leveraged myself here, and I have a long-term belief in what XRP and Ripple are doing on the utility side. But if the bullish scenario does indeed play out, then I don't want to be the one on the sidelines or caught fumbling with the logistics. I want to have at least be securely holding my bag. I want to be educated about my strategy, and I want to have the flexibility to react if I need to. So here are my final thoughts. Don't confuse calm markets with a lack of activity. Sometimes the biggest tectonic shifts, they happen underneath the surface. Right now, there is a tectonic shift in who holds XRP, moving from individual holders spread all over the place to large, concentrated funds. And if that continues, something is gonna give. Now I'm positioning myself for when it does. So if you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to make sure to smash that like button and that subscribe button for more updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.